気軽に音楽留学をソングトゥーザワールド。
Go, huh, huh. So that same huh we were doing earlier, now we're just deeping it and getting the chest in. So now I'm going to go, good. So I'm going to have, again, the emphasis be in the chest rather than the this. All this is a passageway. That's it. Articulators are up here, the breath is down here. This just happens to be the place where the breath goes through the vocal folds and the vocal folds start to oscillate and then create that phonation. So don't think of anything here other than expansion and then dropping the larynx. Cool? So here we go. I'll demonstrate first and then you go and you'll pat your chest. I want that big deep voice. Your turn. Awesome. Now you have the scale we're doing. Try it again. Big open mouth. This way. Oh, and you go this way. So it's almost like, have you ever seen Home Alone back in the day where the kid goes like that? That's what we're doing. So good. Here. Good. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Here we go. So let's go a half step up. I'll demonstrate first, patting the chest. Good. Awesome. Next note. Breathe. Next note. Next note. Breathe. As we go higher, we were talking about addressing those high notes earlier and having difficulty with that. Remember I talked about that slingshot, really pulling back to release the vowel? So I want you to like that. Yep, great, except again, tall mouth. Not wide mouth, but tall. You ready? Here we go. Again, pat the chest. Go ahead. Breathe. Good. Next, as we're working on this, what I want you to think about is freedom first, power second. So the second you start to feel tight in your throat, I want you to flip into your head voice. It may not sound pretty, and that's okay. I'm not going for how it sounds. What I want you to do is focus on feeling, right? Remember we talked about earlier, we can replicate sound by replicating feeling. So that's what I want you to really try to hyper-focus on, is when I start to feel any sort of tension, my habit right now is flip into my head voice. Because eventually what's going to happen with an exercise like this, and same idea where we might hold it out, is this exercise is not only training you to keep the larynx down, but how to be able to start to bring weight up as we get through our passaggio or our bridge, right? So it's going to sound a little bit more classical. So here we go, ready? Right? Not going to sing pop that way. So now I'm going to go for my cover and then I'm going to open it up from there. So I'm going to still do that and then you're going to hear me cover and then you're going to hear me open it up with all of that in the back, okay? Same thing I'm going to do. A lot of times what people do instead of that, they just do this. And then that's all squeezing, right? We want to avoid that. So basically that's kind of an exercise I would use, and then that kind of exercise that I just showed you, we would do down the road once you start to mix, right? Because what I really want you to start being able to do is if I think, cool, we're going to do this from a classical perspective or an operatic perspective, or another word is legit, then I would go, I said, cool, we're just going to do it as a pop exercise, but I still want you to have that nice power behind it. Then you might go, like that, right? And that's where you'll start to hear people like Jessie J or like Pink or those singers that have that really big voice, but they still sound poppy. That's how they've kind of learned how to do that, right? Versus somebody who's just studied pop and that's it, and they might go, and then it just doesn't sound as full, if that makes sense, right? So we're really working on that resonance. Retraining the muscles in the brain to go, oh, no, we don't get up there by squeezing anymore. We get up there by using the breath. And then once that starts to feel easy, then I might say, cool, let's start adding some weight. In the beginning, so if I'm working with somebody who's not as experienced, there's going to be a very clear distinction between those two, right? You have experience, I have experience, so it might not be as much of a break. It might sound a little bit more connected. So if we were talking about mixing or like trying to address your head voice and how do I be able to hit those high notes without squeezing, those are the steps that we would take. And obviously that could take 3 months, that could take 6 months. It really depends on the client. For you, I would say the biggest thing is you're working with your exercises right now. When you're having trouble hitting those notes, when you're doing your exercises, just flip. And if you, let's say, exercise in the morning versus exercising at night, I am not a morning singer. No matter how early I get, my voice is just like, no, we're not going to sing the high notes right now. Some people that I've auditioned with can go, they can wake up in an hour, they can go and they can hit high C's and all this belting stuff and knock it out of the park. And that's just not me. My voice needs time to warm up. And if I did the exercise later in the day, once the voice has some time to warm up, then I might be flipping way down the road in my head. And every day is different, right? That's one of the things that I really try to emphasize to my clients, not just in singing, but in yoga, is can we approach the work as if it's a new work every day? Because I'm a human being, right? I'm not perfect. And so every time I come to the mat, and even if I hit that high C yesterday, today is a new day. What we're doing with the gug and the mu is as this wants to spike up, I'm intentionally trying to push it down and resist it. And eventually this starts to become the like pop register and stuff like that. But when I came back to the speech level singing stuff, and I really tried to understand what Seth was talking about, he got all of his stuff basically from bel canto. I said no, but the idea behind it is that I'm intentionally forcing the larynx down so I can keep that deep yawn shape, right? So if I were to do like an operatic technique, what they would say is when I breathe in, I'm holding that space and learning to speak or sing from there. And that's really what the gug is, except I'm not doing that first. I'm training it to go boom, 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 boom. So gug, 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 gug. Like you can even see it here. Gug, 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 gug. So I can train that. It's kind of like doing reps like this, right? If I haven't learned how to do that and release this, what's happening is this guy wants to go all the way up. And they're increasing the note, they might go like that, and then everything's coming up here. We're trying to intentionally train the muscles here to stay down. So that's the biggest thing I would say to address that. And then with the gug, now I'm gonna go whoop, whoop. And this is one of Seth Riggs' techniques, but we're gonna or I'll go a little higher, so let's do it here. So now I'm going from falsetto, or for females, head voice, and then we're gonna start to bridge back down into the chest voice. And as we do that, what we wanna try to do is stay lifted. So energetically, I'm thinking as I go down, I think up. As I go up, I think down. So it's almost like a counterbalance, right? If that makes sense. And the reason is as I go down is because the habit is, let's say I'm really focused in the mask right here.
Yeah.
If I go down into my chest voice, what you might hear is, and then it's completely now in a different spot. You want to avoid that. So if I can think, cool, as I'm going down, I'm going to keep the energy going up. That'll sound more like, so it's a little bit more clear focus at that point. And that's the technique aspect, right? So let's do that going down. We'll just do a couple because I know we're pressed for time. So go ahead. So big whoop. So just like the good or the high there, we're gonna go whoop. So whoop, whoop. Okay, go ahead. Both of these both are designed to carry weight up, right? So it's training the muscles as I increase the pitch to stay down.